Jesus said, "Man cannot live on bread alone, but from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." You're listening to Daily Truth.
The Israelites were not permitted to take of the spoil. To the victor goes the spoils, you may have heard. Not in this instance. They were not permitted to take of the spoil of Jericho. But as you'll see, as we continue this series through the book of Joshua, they were permitted to take and plunder all these other treasures of every other major city and battle that they encounter. It is only Jericho, right up front at the beginning, that Israel is commanded to entrust those things to the Lord, to devote much of it to destruction, and the devoted things within Jericho, those things of gold and silver, to take those things and devote them to the Lord, to bring them into the treasury of the Lord. They are not allowed to personally increase in their wealth because of their victory of Jericho. Part of what we're meant to take from that is the principle of giving first fruits to the Lord. Here they are at the beginning of their conquest into the land of promise. Long been wandering in the wilderness as sojourners, now crossed the Jordan River, entering the land of promise, also, I might add, still as sojourners, but not sojourners waiting for God to beam them out, but sojourners, strangers and aliens waiting to conquer the land. They've just now entered into the promised land, their inheritance, and the first victory that God grants to them, He says, "Give it back to me." Not because God won't let them have anything. In fact, as we see throughout the book of Joshua as a whole, God allows them to receive virtually everything except for the first. And this is the same principle that we have even for New Testament Christians today, that the first fruits of our labor belongs to the Lord, because it demonstrates a recognition, an acknowledgement, and a gratitude to the Lord that He is the one ultimately who makes our work fruitful. Man waters and plants, but God makes it grow. This is true when it comes to ministry, that which is spiritual, but also that which is physical and practical. In every regard, man will work diligently as unto the Lord, but it is the Lord Himself who gives the harvest. And so, in acknowledging that God is the one who grants success, that God is the one who makes our work fruitful, we give not the last leftovers, but rather the first fruits to Him. And so the people of Israel were commanded to do in this new land, this new inheritance of Canaan, with the first city they conquer, namely Jericho. And to do otherwise, after having been brought into a good land flowing with milk and honey, after miraculously crossing over the Jordan River, supernaturally the waters heaped up, after miraculously conquering one of the most formidable enemies in this land without having to lift even a single finger, and for the Lord to merely ask that you take everything, but just this one time give the first fruits to Him in acknowledgement of His mercy and provision and kindness, and to refuse that is an outrageous thing in Israel. It is an outrageous thing. God is not cruel. God is not unfair. And the punishment prescribed for Achan is a just and appropriate punishment for an outrageous sin that he committed against the Lord and against His people.